We believe everyone can learn to operate handguns safely. However, we think it is unsafe to learn to shoot on your own. Please work with an experienced firearms instructor to put these skills into practice.
This video includes both semi-auto pistols and double-action revolvers. As we begin this video, all guns are unloaded and safe to handle. There is no ammunition present in this room, and the safe direction to point our guns is toward that brick fireplace.
Selecting your first handgun may seem like a daunting task. There's so many guns to choose from, so much technical information out there, and so many people giving you advice. In this video, we're going to simplify the process by introducing 5 basic questions to answer when selecting a handgun. By thinking about each one of these categories carefully, then it is likely you will be satisfied with your purchase. We're going to start by listing the questions on the screen. Then we'll go over them one by one. 1. Does the gun fit your hand? 2. Does the trigger feel good to you? 3. If it's a semi-auto, can you operate the slide? 4. How much recoil can you tolerate? 5. Do you want to carry the gun concealed?
The first question is, does the gun fit your hand? So we've laid out a variety of handguns in different sizes and configurations. To determine if a gun fits your hands, pick it up and hold it. Check to see that the gun is unloaded. And be sure to point it in a safe direction. Do you feel like you have a firm grip on the gun? Put the pad of your finger on the trigger, but don't press on it yet. Does the trigger feel like it is too far away to reach? Or is it too close for comfort? This one feels too big to me. And this one feels too small. Buying a gun is like buying shoes. If you don't like them, you won't wear them.
Next question, does the trigger feel good to you? Pick up one of the guns, check to see if it's unloaded, point it in a safe direction, place the pad of your finger on the trigger, and slowly press until it releases. You will notice that double-action revolvers have a stiff trigger pull. This is because the trigger is cocking the hammer. Other types of guns will have lighter trigger pulls. The point is, all triggers feel differently. Personally, I like this one just because it feels nice. Chances are you'll prefer something else.
The third question is, if it is a semi-auto, can you operate the slide? Let's look at a few semi-auto slides. Check that the gun is unloaded. Index your trigger finger and point the gun in a safe direction. Now operate the slide. As you try different guns, you will notice little relationship between the size of the gun and the stiffness of the slide. Also take note that the smaller guns may be harder to get a grip on. Remember to use the push-pull method we learned in an earlier video. This method makes it much easier to operate the slide.
And now for question 4. How much recoil can you tolerate? We obviously can't test recoil here, but there are a couple of generalizations we can make. The first is that small guns tend to have greater recoil. You may not want to shoot 100 rounds in one session through this pocket pistol. The other generalization is that full-size guns in smaller calibers tend to have less recoil. These full-size 9mm guns have relatively low recoil and are good choices for people with weaker hands. Here's the most important takeaway about recoil. If it hurts your hand to shoot it, it's useless.
The final question is, do you want to carry your gun concealed? If so, you need to take into consideration the gun's overall size, weight, and thickness. Also, you want to think about what type of holster you will use. Here are a couple of examples of popular combinations. The first is a semi-auto pistol with a paddle holster. The other is a small double-action revolver with a paddle holster. There are, of course, many other ways to carry a gun concealed. Here is another example of inside the waistband holsters. Concealed carry is a subject worthy of its own video. We suggest that you talk to people who have carried guns for a number of years. Everybody has their own ideas about what works best.
After you've selected a few guns you like, then the real test is to shoot them at the range. That's the only way to get a fair comparison between guns. Many gun store salespeople are very knowledgeable about firearms. However, they may not be able to spend enough time with you to understand your unique needs. We recommend going to a shooting range with an experienced shooter. Select a range that has a variety of rental guns. Try out a number of guns. Keep in mind the 5 questions we asked in this video. This is the best way to find the right handgun for you.
After you have purchased your gun, here are 3 things to keep in mind. First, your new gun needs to be cleaned and oiled before shooting it the first time. Many guns are shipped with only rust preventative on the moving parts. Second, most new guns should have 400 to 500 rounds put through them to break them in. And finally, remember that moisture is a byproduct of combustion. This means your gun has moisture inside after shooting it. Leave the action open and let it air out for a couple of hours after shooting. Purchasing your first handgun is an investment in safety for you and your loved ones. It's important to find a gun that you like to shoot. And investing time in making your decision will pay off in future peace of mind.